When I wear my dark chic cunt t-shirts, I feel like that just says everything that I need to say right there.
Hello, you are listening to The Commentary Booth, a podcast for the girlies and others. I'm your host, Wooster182, she, her, and joining me today are...
Persephone, she, her.
Hi, I'm Lauren, also she, her.
Hi, I'm Jane, also she, her.
Hi, I'm Dee, she, they.
This is the third and final installment of our amazing conversation with Trish from the Trish and Sarah podcast. Please listen all the way through, as we will have where you can find our work. Thanks, and I hope you enjoy.
Yeah, I'm always surprised. If I were AEW, I'd be really into just building in those devoted fan bases who's willing to spend a ton of money on things like merch. I would kill if there was a wrestler other than Hangman who would make a wearable t-shirt. Oh my God. Because people do want to display what they're fans of.
Lee does.
Yeah, what?
No,
yeah, there's a few.
Yeah, Lee does.
There's a couple, but
I know OC actually. Well,
unfortunately, it's not many.
Well, he draws, but I don't know how much of his merch that he's actually kind of sort of designed too.
I was gonna say, I own a Lee Moriarty poster. It's displayed in my front entryway kitchen. I live in a one-bedroom. Oh. It's in my non-bedroom room, but it's not the same as wearing a shirt though. It gets people when I wear my support your local pollinators and vengeful cowboys. I get questions about it, and I can respond to it. Just stuff to start a conversation. I feel like would be useful.
Yeah, I mean, it's stuff like that. I actually do appreciate because okay, I openly admit I am a giant Bullet Club mark specifically for the people that I love that were in Bullet Club. The amount of questions I've actually gotten about what Bullet Club is, it's concerning. Some people think it's oh, you shoot. It's what? You shooting, brother? No, I'm not. So it's better than some of the other questions I get. Is so who's your favorite leader? Then they start talking at me about AJ Styles and everything isn't fun anymore. Then I have to go.
When I wear my dark chic cunt t-shirts, I feel like that just says everything that I need to say right there. Good design.
I'd love something I could wear to work. If I could get a little charm bracelet or something, that would be fun.
The friendship bracelets they had were good.
They had friendship bracelets? I completely missed
those.
They
had
they had orange ones.
I think I might have bought this from a fan. I don't remember, but I have an ironed chic friendship bracelet. Because I like puns. So I wear that every day to work, and I get asked about it occasionally. And then I used to wear my pink Hangman flower shirt into work. I could get away with that with a skirt. And I got a lot of compliments. So, but that's about it.
Anyways, the nice thing about merch is they don't have to rely on outside sponsors, so you can just go directly to your fans. If I were, I'm always amazed, and this is partly my own field of expertise and what I work in, but I was always cater to your... there's a reason why Gacha games make so much money. In some ways, it's easier to cater to your own fans than it is to expand a fan base.
Yeah, and I've said that to people as well. I've said, you need to forget about kind of all these other people, and this comes back to kind of the abuse thing earlier, but you need to think about, how do I engage with our fans? How do you engage with the people that care about you? Rather than thinking we don't want to engage with anybody because of all this other stuff happening. So I think that's really important, to keep people engaged as well. Especially, let's face it, attention spans are shorter these days than maybe what they were, just because of the way we live lives and consume content, especially with social media. So yeah, you do have to keep thinking about those ways of connecting. And whether that be, merch is an easy one. If you can design good merch and you can wear that out somewhere, and it's not all a black t-shirt, for God's sake, or horrific designs. Looking at you, Okada, 2 companies now. How have you never had a great t-shirt design? What's going on there?
You know what would keep me engaged? Death Rider sports bra. Come on.
Oh,
Marina Shafir, the money.
Yes.
Thank.
Yeah, there's again the Death Rider sports bras, Orange Cassidy sunglasses, little plushies. I go to fan creators who make merch to order, like, the little plushies and cute little stickers and things like that.
AEW would kill it if they had their own version of the New Japan Pion skates. Seriously, they would.
Yeah.
By the way, I want to say this too. I have something to say. Go to Dee's Ko-fi, and that will be on a link on the show, because she is selling some awesome stickers and awesome art on there. So I just wanted to get that in.
Yes. Exactly. See,
Thank you.
Support your local fan creators so that they can help and do more and spread the word. And we are all a nice, self-contained and growing ecosystem.
That's funny.
What's also sad about merch is my favorite wrestler is Wheeler Yuta. He is my special little guy. And I also love Marina Shafir, and there is not good merch to purchase.
No.
Come on. Shafir has a good song that I can put on my wrestling, my workout playlist. I mean, Wheeler, as a Wheeler Yuta fan, you got nothing.
Look,
You've got to say she has a good song, because the song was written by someone on our network. So
Wheeler Yuta has fan fiction. That's what Wheeler
Yuta has fan fiction. That is true.
Because Wheeler Yuta is the eldest daughter.
It is really funny.
Yes, he is.
He's just such a pathetic man, and that does compel me. But it is really funny if you look like wrestlers by fanfic. If you look at where they are on the card, there is a one of these things is not like the other.
Again, Yuta is like the fandom dark horse in a lot of ways, especially among the people who do create fanfic.
There's always people like that, though, that maybe go under the radar, because everybody who's at the top level gets some, all that attention. But there's always those sort of fan favorites that come up in different groups. And in Japan, the House of Torture stuff, there's people now that we're like, why? Or Yo, right? Have you ever seen Yo? So he's a junior wrestler in New Japan.
Yes.
Yes. I don't presume anything. Okay. He has an insane young female following, insane. And it's hard for me to understand it, because I'm like, he's no different to Show or, to who was his tag partner when they were in they used to be in a group with Rocky Romero. And it's he's no different to other people. I can see other people that I think would be more attractive to that fan base. And yeah, it's him. And it shows up in numbers. This is insane, right? But he had a final of a tournament last month, and it drew more in the same venue than Okada and Will Ospreay.
What?
Wow.
Yeah, I know. It's something to think about. And for me, it's the first thing I think about is not, oh, that's stupid. It's why? What is it about him that's connecting to people? Because it might not be connecting to people like me, but connecting to somebody very clearly. I have a friend who went to the show. He goes to tons of shows. He's some awesome guy, Australian guy. And he said to me, the woman next to him was crying her eyes out when he won. And it's
wow.
There's a connection there that we won't recognise, and we may never see, and I'll never see him, I never have seen him as a top wrestler, but there's something there, and it connects beyond what we do. So I love that, though, because you're looking for things, and this is it's got kind of messed up in the way that people talk about it because it's been weaponized. But when Tunnel talk about special little guys, right? Yep. Special little guy is not your big main eventer,
right?
Yeah, it's these people that you have that special bond with that maybe people just ignore, or they're your special little guys. For me, it's when people say who's your actual special little guys, and he wasn't so little at one point, but Dalton Castle is one of mine. I loved watching him for a decade. He's one of my favourites. And I can look at people in the UK seeing as well. Mark Andrews, before he went to the US, was someone I just loved watching that maybe people didn't kind of make notice of. But it's stuff like that. So I think it's fascinating. That's one of my favourite things, is try and figure out why sometimes, because not everything connects with everybody. But
which is cool.
The fact that we're now seeing more of that variation in kind of the fandom is awesome too. I just think it's great. Really something I really, really enjoy. It's a silly one to be so passionate about, but I'm just why? Because everyone's just oh, he sucks, or he's this. And I'm so what is it about Yo? Someone tell me. And all the explanations I've had have not been great. So next time I go to Japan, I'm just going to start asking people. Hopefully my Japanese is good by then. Please tell me, just explain this to me. What is it about you connect? And that's the thing. I'm gibbering now, but when it comes to someone like Tetsuya Naito, or someone like let's be honest, like Adam Page, right? There's so many people that can't see why we have that connection to that character. Like, what is it about it that has such strong feelings that it like dominates social media talk when they do like anything, or like, you know, like what is it about them? Because they can't see it, and rather than trying to understand it or trying to embrace that, they just want to throw it away. Like, oh, you know, it's not how we've always done things, so it can't work.
Or it's not the right
it's bringing a different set of people to your product, you know? Hangman, who just has a pretty good rating for Collision, by the way, just confirm one thing.
I think it's very normal to say that this is what you're interested in, though, because I think ultimately, like, isn't this kind of like the point of art? Like, I know that's like a very pretentious thing to say, but it's also true. Like, we're born alone and we'll die alone, and we will really never be able to fully step into anyone's shoes and experience the way they experience the world. So the closest we can get is these like self-expression and how people transmit this self-expression and what people relate to and what resonates. I mean, art is a scream in the dark. And, you know, I mean, I will say to vastly lower the tone of this conversation. Like, I can tell you right now, I like Wheeler Yuta because I'm interested in things like the nature of violence in wrestling. And I think he's really interesting in terms of like a guy who is vulnerable. You know what I mean? Like, if you look at like his story arc as compared to someone like Kyle Fletcher, in some ways they're very similar. Like, they're, you know, this was more true of Yuta like a year ago than the current Yuta arc right now, which I have feelings about. But like how they play, like being manipulated by someone and choosing to do violence against former friends, like the way that they play it is really different. And I think the way that Yuta plays it is like deeply interesting and compelling to me. I am someone who has put 5 Colts in their D&D games. So like, I also just love just that Colts. And I will say Marina Shafir is someone who I previously identified as a special little guy. And that's because I find her insanely hot. So it can, I think, really differs, like the level of why people grasp on things. But it is interesting to just hear with what and why. Yeah, I mean, you know, and I think, you know, the thing about wrestling, this is one of the things I find fascinating about it, is it's such a bodily experience, you know what I mean? There's a lot of physicality to it in a way that, like, you know, my other interests, like contemporary art or literature, is very disembodied. So I think when people like don't think it's like shallow to talk about like the eroticness of like the physical body in wrestling, I'm like, grow up, go to an art museum, see a statue of a nude. You know, this is also part of the human experience.
It's a fundamental part of the human experience.
Puritanical too, so at least that mindset. And for when it stuff like this.
Also, there's the fact
we're all jumping each other.
Yeah. Also, there's the fact that again, with the whole devaluing things that are important to women, a lot of it is like I love like I think it was Awfully Waffly who did this whole poll a few years ago about how do you identify and who do you find attractive, and who the men found attractive versus the women versus
that was
like
so
non-binary folks and stuff. Fascinating. Because again, it's like there's this feeling of like, you are liking this wrong. You are liking the wrong men. You are liking the wrong women. Things like that. And again, it's just one of those, I'm not like a huge hard data person, but I do love seeing the results of people putting together all the data. And
I mean, I also get that it's a hard line to walk because you also don't want to objectify wrestling. You know what I mean? Like, it sucks to be a woman and to only have the thing talk about is your boobs. But on the other hand, I also think it's weird to pretend like we don't see the boobs and flattering, like,
look, we can talk about
they want to. They want to be seen, but also in a respectful and normal way. It is possible.
We can talk about Mina's desire for revenge and her boobs. We can do 2 things at once.
We contain multitude.
Exactly.
No, we don't. I'm told every day we don't.
God.
As we all know, all women are a hive mind. We all share the same experiences. When we say women, we're talking about a single monolithic group, which psychically communicates all the time.
Yeah, that's it. That's where it works. It's frustrating in that because it's just a way to diminish everybody's viewpoints. But it's like, there's a thing, right? Because it's like, you can't view them as kind of, if they're good looking or whatever, but you've also got to understand their marketing of that, right?
Yeah.
Like they have less qualms about that than we do. But obviously it has to stay within a line, but that's the same with anyone in a public kind of profile. But if you look at like World Cups on the men's World Cups on at the moment, right? If you look at someone like Jude Bellingham who plays for England, like he's marketing himself there. Like they know what they're doing. It's all part of it. Like you understand that the look is part of it, and in a way, for me, I think it's kind of cool to see people embracing their kind of sexuality in a way, in terms of like incorporating that as part of themselves. Like we've seen with Tony Storm, or we've seen with Miniature Caro, we see with Tekla, and we see plenty of that on the men's side as well. That's not a woman only thing.
Absolutely.
You know what I think is
but I think that's kind of cool.
A missed revenue stream that wrestlers probably just haven't discovered yet, because I feel like a lot of them, as much as they love having a side hustle, the Quinn app. Do you guys know what this is?
Oh no, is this an AI bullshit thing?
I don't.
Okay, no, sorry. I should have guessed. What is the Quinn? What is
I don't know if there's AI on it.
Audiobooks though?
I got sucked into it because Sean Hannity from a famous character actor from The Pit and Ready or Not 2 did a 2-part episode of it. It's like erotica audio.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, I was very wrong on what this was. I thought this was one of the AI character boyfriend
Oh,
things. No. This is a new thing.
No.
This is a new
thing. The Heated Rivalry
I heard
guys.
of it. I remember. Yeah.
The Heated Rivalry guys also have like a multi-episode where they're fairies. I mean, they're literal fairies in the story from like warring fairy factions who fall in love, and like it's basically heated rivalry with wings. But like I feel like if I was a wrestler who knows how to talk and have a good promo, and I wanted some extra money, and you have a strong female fan base, I would do that.
Yeah, as I'm filling out the application as we speak.
There are so many people in there are not so many, but there are some people in wrestling who could do more crossover stuff in general with other things. There are so many people that are so talented in their way, and I think the thing about wrestling is, for a lot of people, it's their job, right?
Yeah.
So, and you get, like in any job, you kind of get not worn down, but you kind of get used to like the 9 to 5, right? This is what I do. I go to work these days. I do that. I come home. I got to balance work and balance life. And sometimes it's difficult to then experiment with kind of creatively or doing other things and that sort of thing. You don't want to take a risk because you don't want to affect your kind of your public image or damage your potential, I was going to say draw, but it's like the things that appeal to your fan base. So I do think that people are less willing to take risks these days than what they were maybe previously in the 2010s, for sure, where not every eye were on you. You could do things with independent shows and stuff, and some of that also comes from the fact that I think people spent longer on the independents during that period, so they had more time to experiment where they could try things, and if they failed, it doesn't matter, who cares? Whereas now people are coming into TV very, very young. You see more, look at like with NXT and WWE, and look, I don't watch NXT. If I have to watch it for Hiromu, I'm going to hate myself, but I'll try. But my little cat guy. But it's like, they don't really get chances to develop themselves outside of the public eye and to try things. And, if you look at, I think there's a reason why, when you look at the talent that have come particularly from Japan to places like AEW, the Carl Fletchers, the Teklas of this world, they've had that experience of being able to work, these long tours and try. So now when they're trying things and it doesn't work, it's okay. Like they can deal with that and then they just adapt. Whereas the people that are coming in who have no real experience outside of like maybe a short time on independence or coming in from scratch and then having to work up on TV, they're having to do their growth on TV. They're having to do their fuck ups on TV, but everyone expects them to be the finished product already. And it's so difficult. So you will try to take less and less risks because you don't want to mess that up. And I wish people were more forgiving in a way of people still finding their legs or finding themselves on their journey rather than just kind of criticizing that constantly.
No one wants to be clipped on Twitter. I will say this is my sexy merch pitch, and this is a free idea. I relinquish all of my intellectual property rights in it, but come on. Don Callis sexy year calendar. Like, I want a fireman calendar with the Don Callis family. That would be so funny to me.
There's more than enough to have one for every month.
That is true.
I know. And, like, sure, we lost Takeshita and Andrade, but we gained Kevin Knight. I mean, you know.
Yeah, he's a good guy too. Like, he has such a great reputation in Japan. And do you know what's special about him as well? And I think Sama, like, he never watched wrestling as a kid, ever.
Yeah.
He has no like expectation of what should be the expectation of him outside of what he should be as a person, you know, like in general. So he doesn't have to live by all these cliches and all these things that you're expected to do, because that's how wrestling is. And that gives him a freedom in the way he thinks and the way that he approaches things that will give him things that differentiate him from somebody else. And he's by no means finished product either. You know, he gets all the criticism currently for his promos, but the only way that he's going to get better at that is if he's working with top level talent and he's, you know, together and like they're helping to coach him. And he, you know, he's got, I know there's like news stories about him coming out there, but you know, he's got someone he's working with later in the summer who will really help with that. And that's also you need the people that are also there who are experienced, successful, being able to work with that talent. That's the problem WWE have got. Is like no one wants to work with these guys on the way up, or these women on the way up, you know. And having like people in AEW that are willing to do that, not just on like the men's side, but also like Mercedes is incredible at that. Like,
oh my God, the Maya world with her and Athena, like you can really see that.
Yeah,
what a great mentorship job they did.
Yeah, that match could have been a disaster, right? It could have fell apart. Especially when you get something like, you know, your gear breaking, your costume breaking, because that sort of thing gets in your head, right? So it starts messing with you. And it needs somebody to then pull that thing together and the experience to do that, and then to deliver such an emotional matchup. I think in like our Discord, I don't think anyone resonated with any match more than that on that show. And that's a credit to them. But, you know, and I thought Maya was fantastic in the performance that she gave. But it's that veteran leadership that really helps that, because she could just left her to die effectively, right? She could have just, it's an awful choice of words, I apologize, but she could have just left her to kind of suffer, to be like, oh, you know, I'm the vet, like, I'm going to win anyway, like, you know, you're not good enough. But she doesn't, she works with her, and it's all the little things she does to get that thing back on track, to get the emotion from the crowd, to kind of build everything back up. She's a great builder of matches, is Mercedes. Everything flows from one end to the other. It's like, I really like how she peaks her matches, but it's like, that's the sort of thing that not everybody in this business wants to. Oh God, I can't say in this business. I sound like Dave Meltzer, don't I? But it's like,
you know what you mean.
Not something that everyone wants to do. There are a lot of selfish people, and the ideology of like trying to build other people up around you is not the standard ideology. And maybe there isn't as much of this in AEW as there once was. I think people that came in at the start had a different. They had a different aspiration, I guess. Maybe it was naive, maybe it wasn't, of what it could be. But it's like, there are still so many people there who are focused on, how do I help this person raise up? How do I help that person raise up? Because it raises everybody up. And like, I have so much respect for those people more than anybody else. And yeah, Mercedes on the women's side, you know, she's such a big star in herself that she doesn't need to do anything for anyone else, essentially, in the old kind of system. But she knows that, you know, she gets stronger if that division gets stronger. And that's why she puts in the work that she does. I think she's incredible. You know, everyone talks about it. It's stupid tribal shit, but it's like, you should recognize like the things that she's doing there in that sort of aspect as well. And we don't talk enough about this, you know, on our podcast sometimes, because you get so wrapped up in whatever the issue is at the time, or whatever it's always going to talk about. And that's why we talked about the division this week. But yeah, that sort of thing is what's going to, you know, help your company to move forward and develop new talent constantly, which is so important to give new fans. You know, you need people that resonate with people of their own age group, or people that grow up with them. And if you don't kind of have the people that are willing to drive these on, it won't happen.
Well, like Cody Rhodes got a lot of noise for breaking out on his own when he left WWE, and the steps he took to come full circle. But Mercedes is having a generational run that I don't think you can compare to anything. No one else is doing what she's done in the last 3 to 5 years, and like it's crickets. Nobody talks about it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's frustrating, and it feels misogynistic. Like, if she were a man, I think she'd be all over ESPN, because what she's been able to accomplish for herself and for small independents and for AEW, no one else has ever done anything like that I can name, at least in modern history, if ever.
Yeah, but the people that do those sort of things are never remembered as the same thing at the time, right?
Yeah.
So, if you look at some of the massive industry changes in the last few years in terms of like the wage changes and all those sort of things, the people who are responsible for that are the ones that are currently like downplayed for it, or, you know, treated as like bad for it. And then when we come back in 20 years, it'll be like, oh, they changed this part of the industry. It's never happened a lot of time when you are kind of in that position. And especially for the people that don't, I will say, not promote themselves, but don't over promote themselves, right? So there are people who are very, very good at controlling their media image and are very, very good at pushing to everyone. They're on 24/7. Like, they never stop. The man that says he's never on Twitter, CM Punk, very good at that. I don't know if he realizes how many of his Twitter DMs people have, by the way. But no, it's funny, isn't it? But no, they're very, very good at that constant like barrage. So people have to speak about them in this way, and then you have other people who choose to kind of, to quote old Aerosmith song, you know, let the music do the talking. And those people are the ones that, when we look back on, you'll look at much more favorably than the ones that were, you know, out there crying wolf, being noisy all the time, as it is currently.
I think we're already beginning to see this, but we're going to see, you know, with people like Billy Starks in my world. But I'm really excited for 10 years from now when every single person is doing a Mercedes reference, because she inspired them and she was a mentor. I'm really already looking forward to that.
It's mad, isn't it? Like, who becomes the inspiration for others, and how you can see that in each division, and, you know, not just in terms of wrestling style as well, but promo style as well. There's people that do things completely differently in that way. Like, for example, like Jon Moxley does not do face-to-face promos with people. I don't think people notice that. Like, he does mostly the backstage stuff, but will people incorporate that as like a Japanese style kind of way of doing promos? But he's kind of really put that on American television and prominently in the last few years. You know, will that be something, you know, the way that people tell stories, you know, maybe there's too much influence with the Roman Reigns bloodline stuff, to be honest. The NXT faces, I could do without some of that stuff sometimes. So I always get told off for saying things about Will Ospreay, but the Will Ospreay in his New Japan stuff that he's doing at the moment is the most if you want to know what he would look like in WWE, you just watch that. It's like, oh my god, I'm just laughing at you, I'm sorry. But no, the way people tell stories and things, and the way that they incorporate different things into their stories, and it's not just what's on television, and they, you know, they have the secondary content, all that sort of stuff. Like, people will learn from that. So there's different ways that you can influence kind of things going forward, and yeah, I want that to become more varied and to have more influences and different influences, because I think the biggest danger in wrestling at current, and you're seeing this internationally, is this kind of homogenization. And, you know, you'll see people talk about it in Mexico a lot, where everything's becoming that American TV's template, and I hate that. Like, the wrestling that we have now is so influenced by so many different styles. For people that worked in Mexico, people that worked in, like, you know, people like the Bucks and you know, Ricochet and that worked in Dragon Gate, and people that worked in the UK scene, you know, and the European scene, like, all those different influences, and those wrestlers that work like in so many different places, has mean that they are so much more varied in what they produce and how they, you know, illustrate themselves. And like, we need to have more ways of doing that. And I hate the idea of everything becoming the same. Like, I hate, like, it's a fine show, but I hate the AAA, the WWE AAA that comes out now, because AAA was like this crazy, stupid Mexican promotion, right? The shows never made sense. Like, there's always crazy things going on. Like, sometimes it'd be like a car crash to watch, but it was AAA, and now it's just a WWE product. It's no different to NXT from, you know, anything else. And that sort of thing scares me because I don't want everything to look and feel the same. And it's the same with influencers as well. I don't, this WWE, I am completely off on one now, but this completely like WWE ID stuff. And it's like, we're going to train somebody from the very beginning and we're going to mold them to exactly what we want rather than letting them become what they can be and to express that as an artist and kind of experiment with that. And I hate that sort of stuff. It's a real big danger to me. Like that probably goes under the radar. So yeah, if we've got more people like Mercedes influencing people and other people like experimenting and doing things different way, and they'll get pushback on it because as soon as you do something different, you get pushback. But that's so critical for things going forward because people are going to travel less. They are going to get picked up earlier. It's a talent war now. It's a cold war, essentially. So you have to find different ways to differentiate yourself that you never would have before. Or you go to WWE and you have to be the same as everybody else. That just feels so boring to me.
I noticed when Punk came in, and then that was a big influx of fans came in to watch him, and then there was a lot of old guard WWE guys that came in after him, and there was that shift. My weird little wrestling show from 2019 started to shift into it's a good wrestling show, but it's wrestling. It's not a variety show anymore. It was almost like good WWE, if that could be considered a thing, you know what I mean? But it was what I liked about like the experimental part of WWE or of AEW was gone, and there was a large influx of fans, that came in in 2021 that basically said, well, what you liked was shit, actually. Now we're here, and this is good, and this is what we want, so get lost.
I fully agree with you. I think that they lost who they were as an identity. I think they lost so many things, like even it was just like the fun party matches and that sort of thing that we really got into. I think a lot of the characters that people really invested in, that they grew with, the likes of Orange Cassidy, like the likes of the Dark Order and that sort of thing. But there was lots of these people that people really gravitated to, and like put them above NXT. Ran NXT off Wednesdays, and all of a sudden they were pushed aside for people coming in from WWE and coming in from the show that they beat and taking their spots. And it felt so disconnected. And I think there was a period of time where people were like, these are great shows, and I just didn't feel anything. And it's a horrible feeling in a way, because you're just like, yeah, I don't feel like connected to this thing as I were anymore. And I think you can see in the last few years they've gone on this journey to try and find that again. And they use that horrible slogan like, if I have to hear a sort of feeling one more time, like, but it was a point of like, we know we've lost our way. We know we've got this balance wrong, because I always say when you bring people in, and bringing people in is like a natural order, as someone likes to remind me every week whenever I criticize the idea. But it's like, it's a natural order, but you've got to get that balance right, because people have got to be able to still invest in what they brought them to the table. It's like, this is a silly example, I guess, but like a show like The Walking Dead, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's season 8 where they killed everybody, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I don't care about any of these characters, because I care about the characters I invested in.
Right.
And maybe with time I will learn to invest in some of these characters in the same way. Something like what New Japan's going through at the moment. You've lost your Okada, you've lost your Tanahashi, you've lost your Naito. So maybe at one point I will care about, Yuya Uemura at the same amount, or I will care about, Yoda Suji at the same amount. Or we quite like that guy on our podcast already. I think people might have picked up on that one. But it's that sort of thing. So you can rebuild that and you can do that sort of thing. But when you do it all at once, it's so jarring that you feel really isolated from it. And I absolutely think that was the reason why, it's very funny because everyone says like, oh, they were most successful during that period. But if you look at it, like they were most successful in the summer of 2021, just before everybody came in. And then they got the boost from everybody coming in to, debuts, that sort of thing, news stories, it attracts people. And then by a year later, they were actually doing less TV, ratings, less pay-per-view buys, than they were a year previously. And you think about the names they added, and that sounds insane, but that's what happens when you get that balance wrong, because for all the new people that you attracted who followed these people in from WWE, and we absolutely did get people in there that, are still around now and who enjoy the shows, you ran off so many people that brought you to the table. And it's taken years to get back there. I think a lot of people finally felt like that kind of had turned around by All In last year. I think people found a little bit of peace last year with the way that all came together and how that storytelling leading up to that event was so kind of interconnected and interwoven, and how it kind of presented everybody, I guess. And that kind of felt like a closing of the book with, funny enough, the opening of a briefcase. I guess there you go.
This is, I think, a great note to end on, especially as I will say, I started it all in last year, so all of this was completely lost on me. It's just, it's funny to hear as a new fan, like what happened before. You're like, wow, I still don't know what CM Punk looks like. Like some guy.
You're doing well.
Aw, you're lucky.
Don't look at him. Don't look at him. Like, there's nothing natural about him these days. It's sure. Like, but no, do you know what? That's a good. Sorry, I am interrupting, and I'm terrible for it. But I think it's a really cool thing, though, that you have been able to come in at this time and just be able to enjoy it and find people that you can engage with, and then like fans that are willing to kind of just not just help you, but just like enjoy it with you. Because I think one of the barriers towards wrestling in the past has been like there's an expectation that you know everything straight away, and if you don't, then you're like, oh, you don't know anything, and it puts you off. Like, actually, how cool is it to say, like, for me, like, I love being able to say to people, oh, well, come, like, even with other things, like when I go football and things, like obviously women's football is like probably my biggest passion. I could just talk about that for 2 hours, to be honest. But it's like bring people to a game and like, oh, this player and that player and that player, and oh, have you ever seen this? And like, oh, this relates to this. So I think that's such more of a great way to consume wrestling than to just be like, oh, you don't know anything, you've never seen this, you've never seen that. Because actually, how cool is it if I can show you this? Like, oh, you need to, would you like to see this? Does this interest you? Like you can learn that history, and discovering that helps you connect to these characters and connect to these wrestlers. And I just think it's such a cool thing. And the fact that you're doing this all together and you've got people with different kind of experience levels of not experience levels, but, experience with watching wrestling is a really, really cool thing, because you get a different viewpoint then, because you'll see things differently to the way that I do. Right? I'm old and broken and like too many things and been let down by too many things in wrestling to kind of get very excited about something. But you'll have that more natural enjoyment and optimism that I just can't have. I wish I could occasionally, but it's not very often. So but that's really cool. Like we need that. I need that to energize me. Sorry. Yeah. So that's my tangent. I've gone on too many tangents, so I will let you finish your point.
No, that was my point. This is a pro tangent podcast too. Like, let's be clear here. Like, I want people, the vibe we said, like, we're going to end up saying this every episode. It's going to be this podcast version of Restore the Feeling. But we want to be like, sometimes you enter in a party and you don't know anyone there. But like, usually somewhere by the drinks, there's a group of women. And they let you into the little circle, and you get to have an interesting conversation with people who you may not know or meet again. And it's a safe space to express your little freak opinions. And I hope that this is what this podcast sounds like to other people. But speaking of people who are not part of this podcast, do we want to hear the question from the men? Because we did lose Persephone. I've really enjoyed every minute of this, and I don't have anywhere to be. But I am aware that for most other people, that 2.5 hours is a bit of a commitment to just talk.
Guys, today I have a question from the men. He's actually one of my partners in what I do here at Prescription. You've heard him on so many episodes. He also has his own place called the Harvest Podcast Network, which you can find on Spreaker and on Substack. You can find him online on social media at Legion AOD. That's LEGION AOD. 1/3 of Nerd Talking. The other half of Deathmatch Royalty. Trish is first podcast partner. Matt, you had a question for the girlies.
I was just wondering if, say, you were asked to do the 2026 equivalent of the Family Values Store that Porn did back in the day, who would you pick and why?
I don't know what that means. Someone's going to have to translate for me.
Okay, so the Family Values Tour was headlined by like Limp Bizkit and Korn back in 2003, 2004. I never got to go. I always wanted to go. I do like nu metal. I'm not sure what we're picking it for, though.
I think they're saying that if she could switch up the lineup, what would that their version of the family values story be? Let me know if I parsed it wrong.
I think that was the question, yeah. Like, who would you have on your family values tour?
Okay.
Oh, what do they mean? Okay, interesting question.
So is he like just pick like a few bands like you would have on a tour or something?
I
Sure.
guess.
Yeah, I think that's where.
Let's call it that. Or for my generation, I wouldn't think of the Family Values tour. I'd think of the Warped tour, right? That's the emo pop punk one.
Yeah,
Yep.
I mean,
Yeah.
Which I also didn't get to go to.
yeah, it's too expensive, but yeah, that's a good way to parse it. So yeah, what would be our version of that versus what your version of Warp? Yeah, we got it.
So I was probably 12, 14 when Korn and Limp Bizkit were out. I absolutely adored them, especially Limp Bizkit. I was a very nerdy child that thought I was very angsty listening to break shit, and we danced to Nookie in our middle school gym, which is very odd thinking about it now. So I'm going to say that I'm going to have an old millennial retirement tour and just have Limp Bizkit and Corn and go as an old person like you would for New Kids on the Block.
Old Family Values.
That's it, right there. Book it.
Branding is built in. I can go next. So, man, I've been kind of spoiled in regards to like certain festivals. The only festival that I can think of in recent memory that would make sense for me is was the Cold Waves Festival. So it's a festival that usually does like some goth American Cold Wave, which is like industrial with guitar stuff like that. So let's see, my version of like Cold Wave tour would probably be unfortunately bands that when I say it sound pretentious because it's within my scope of understanding. So I apologize ahead of time. Uh, let's see, for mine it would be Frontline Assembly. Uh, was it Covenant? Well, if you can get Esco across the border, and Acumen Nation. Last one, that I can completely knock that out come September. I'm finally seeing them in concert.
I'm gonna really reveal myself as like not someone who listens to a lot of music. I mean, I used to be a really big Kanye West fan. I had to like lose that, and now I listen to like a variety of other rappers, but it's really piecemeal and kind of a strange combination. I'm just gonna go with technically indie bands that are really specific and bisexuals really love, and I'm gonna say the Mountain Goats and Wet Leg, which it's gonna be a weird combination of fans. It's gonna be a lot of 40-year-old dads and like 20-year-old women. But I think that this type of people who want to write about having sex to, Buffalo on DVD and, songs about the pagan, the pagan eradication by the Roman Empire. I think there's a lot of overlap in those two groups, and I think they could really, really get along. And I'd call it the father and daughters tour.
Oh, that's good.
Jane, as our resident baby, if you like rap music about positive sex, or sex positivity, I guess is probably the better way to put that. Have you ever listened to Salt and Pepper?
I know of them, but they're before my time.
Girl.
But I know who they are. I also know there's that really good delivery bit of Sir Patrick Stewart introducing salt and pepper.
Yes. From Saturday Night Live, yes.
Yeah.
We should get her onto some what's her name? The Il Nana, what's her name? Foxy Brown. Not Foxy Brown. Is it Foxy Brown? Yeah, Il Nana. Yeah, that. If you're really into sex posy rap, 90s like Foxy Brown, Lil Kim, that is sort of the wave before like Cardi and
Oh, hey,
Megan Thee
you're
Stallion
you're
and
right on. I
Glorilla.
also, yeah, I'll also throw in, damn, I forgot her name. I was about to say her name and I forgot it. But yeah, yeah, there's a lot of sex positive rap from the '90s. But that's also like, I love Salt and Pepper. That is so my jam. I'm sorry as an old man. I'm sorry to talk here as like as a podcasting dad, as a New Japan dad level old man. Just have to say that.
I think I would do. Okay, I have fairly wide spanning musical tastes. Kind of like my taste in media. I generally like most things, but I never got to go to any music festivals or anything like that. So this is the I didn't get to see it music festival. So like Sarah McLachlan and the chicks from Lilith Fair,
That's cool.
Korn, and
Yes.
like Breaking Benjamin, Poets of the Fall, who I will probably never see because they are European and they don't come to the US. If you've never heard of them, play any game by Remedy. They do a song on the soundtrack starting from like Max Payne 2.
Mm.
My spouse is super into them and got me into them. Let's see what else. You know what? I'm going to wrap it up with a couple of post-mortem people, Selena and
Oh my
Elias.
gosh.
And I will have Weird Al as the headliner because I have seen him in concert before, but I feel like he'd be a good headliner. Oh, also Drew Hill. Enter the Drew is one of my favorite albums of all time, and I was just listening to it again like 2 days ago. So they're very much on my mind right now.
Tell me what you want. Tell me what you need. Tell me it ain't good enough. I love them.
Where's
Well,
the
Drew Hill,
buzzer?
like you start mentioning R&B. The Filipino has to start singing. I don't have the soundboard right now. I don't think, did we get Trish's
Not
answer?
yet.
Not yet.
Oh, there we go. There's the buzzer.
Oh,
I actually own one.
Matt will know this. I used to tech when I was younger. I'm a bass guitar trained sound engineer. Because you just never admit to things you do, right? I've been lucky. I've lots of experience in my life, so I guess I do this a little bit differently. I think about bands or people that I've worked with or I've really enjoyed. So this is a random list, but everybody knows Alter Bridge are because they do Edge's theme.
Mhm.
I had a long time, still do have a long time connection with those guys. So most fun I've ever had in my life going out on those tours. So they just done a massive show in Cardiff Castle and it was awesome. I've seen some of the live stuff from it. Wish I could have seen that one, but yeah, they're just so much fun, great guys. So I'd have them. There's a little Scottish band called Logan, and they were fantastic live. I used to just enjoy it. The lead singer was a Scottish guy who had a very American sounding voice, and he could just, the way he used to project his vocals, I could listen to him all day. And then I did some teching on the country music side too. So I would probably say, let's think, which one? It's a guy, he's been in some TV shows as well. He's called Steve Carlson. And he was great fun, but he's just so relaxing. So I'd have him like, cause you're kind of, as everyone's just coming in the venue, just nice and calm, that sort of thing. So yeah, I really like I just enjoy live music. So yeah, he's done me with this one because he knows the kind of things I would go to because he's just expecting me to talk about like Springsteen and stuff, and I'm like, yeah, okay. Because I go to see Springsteen like anytime he's within reach, like US, I've been to France, been here, but yeah, it's just a great thing about live music. But I just think about some of the people we worked with, we've been really blessed, and yeah, just great fun. I wish I had more live music. I don't go as much these days as I should. I think everything's in like the nice little venues we used to go to are like this is me getting old. they've kind of disappeared. You know, they've been turned into whatever, and like it's very hard to see anybody in like a place with 200-300 people these days here. Everything's either like really giant or really tiny. I wish I see more. Yeah. I'm in another tangent now. I'm so sorry. This is what happens at like 2 a.m.
Pro tangent podcast. As it is 2 a.m., maybe we should be calling it a night.
Yeah, I'm sure you all have more important things in your lives to do than suffer me for.
I have the great and exciting chore of doing laundry in my horrible, unair-conditioned basement, so you're saving me from myself, but...
We understand that. Aircon's not a thing here. I wish it was. We're dying.
Trish, it has been a joy to have you on the podcast. I will admit for myself, it was a little stressful because I felt like I needed to be extra prepared because I think being prepared is your brand. So I wanted to come prepared. I think we all did. But thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for letting me and for coming and let me talk and ramble and hope I've not been too boring for you. But
it was really interesting, and please feel free to come and ramble with us anytime because this was fascinating. And it's someone who's a new fan. You talked about how it's really interesting in some ways for you to see someone who, again, I started out at all in. I've never seen Punk wrestle. Like, I have no idea who that guy really is. But equally, it's really interesting for me, just someone who, like, actually knows what's going on and actually, like, has a different insight than I do.
I think we all learn from each other. I think that's the way I look at things. Like, I think there's no one that you can't learn from. Oh, yeah. But no, I really appreciate it. It's been really fun to come and talk to you guys and, just chat, really. I don't do enough of that because we just, everything has to be so detailed, you know, and we have to be like one thing. So it's kind of cool just to ramble. Yeah.
With that lovely thought, we are the Commentary Booth, produced and streamed by Doc at the Prescription Podcast. Our theme song is Jeong Song, Creature by Nico Angelo. I have been Wooster.
I've been Dee.
I've been Jane.
I've been Lauren.
Thanks, and we'll see you next time.
I have an online business card where you can see all the things that I'm currently up to. I have a Medium account because sometimes I do opinion pieces. I also have a writing blog where I do a little bit of practice here and there. I have a Ko-Fi account for people that want to commission me, buy some stuff directly from me. And I also have an online store via Redbubble. So to find where that is, the address is denishaartist.card.co. That's DANISHARTIS.CARRD.CO.
I am a geek that has a YouTube channel, Cagney Chick 182.
You can find what Persephone writes. It's called, one of her comments is Chalupa and Scallop. It's over at Comic Fury.
Hi, this is Lauren, aka LW Salinas. You can find everywhere that I'm at my website, lwsalinas.com. That's LWSALINAS.com. That includes writing and voice work, including articles, podcasts, audiobooks, audio dramas. You can also find me at my Blue Sky Sith Witch. That's SITHWITCH, where I live skate wrestling every Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, some Sundays, pretty much whenever I'm watching.